the lion, but is that easy or likely?
This is CNN Breaking News.
We are always so grateful to have your company. 7 o'clock on this Saturday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Christy Paul.
I'm Victor Blackwell. Always good to be with you. And we're starting this hour with breaking news out of California. 23 major fires are burning across the state. Look, we've got a map here. I mean, these flames are everywhere. Every wildfire being tracked by the State Forestry Service is represented here. And now the governor has declared a state of emergency this morning.
Nearly 8,000 firefighters have been called in to battle all of those flames. And we do have some new information about one firefighter who was killed battling the fire. Take a look at 38-year-old David Rule here. He's of South Dakota. He'd been with the Forest Service for 14 years. And we understand Capitol flags in the state will be flown at half-staff in his honor today.
So why is this happening? Well, 4 years of drought have left California so dry. And Governor Jerry Brown has called it a tinderbox. The fire you're seeing now is in the Rocky Fire. This is in Northern California. So far, it's only 5% contained. It's burned more than 18,000 acres.
And the thing is, there's some pretty wicked hot weather coming this weekend, which means firefighters are not going to catch a break here. Ivan Cabrera has the details on that. Ivan, help us understand what these guys are dealing with.
Well, once again, I mean, to talk about California and a fire getting going, and we talk about things getting at hand very quickly here. Over a dozen major fires now being worked at here. So we have firefighting efforts that are coming in outside of the state, which is why we have the state of emergency here. And the governor himself called this a tinderbox. And the reason we call it a tinderbox is because we have an exceptional drought ongoing in California. As you know, things are parched. We need water. We haven't had water in 4 years and any significant amount here. So we continue with this incredible drought. And where they're working the fire, we have exceptional drought ongoing there. Updating you again, 18,000 acres have already been burned, and that happened very quickly. This has rapid behavior as far as this fire, only 5% containment, and weather conditions over the next few days are not going to be all that helpful. We're talking high temperatures into the 80s and then 90s by the afternoon, and as those temperatures go up through the afternoon, the relative humidity goes down, and another thing we get is the winds. They'll become gusty through the afternoon as well as high as 20 miles an hour. So as far as containment, they have a window through the overnight hours. That's when the humidity is high and the temperatures are low, but through the day, it is going to be tough going. Guys?
Ivan Cabrera, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Question, could a barnacle-covered piece of a plane's wing unlock the mystery to what happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370? Well, the debris that was found washed ashore on a West Indian Ocean island is now being taken in a sealed box by car to a state-of-the-art laboratory for analysis. This is in France. It arrived at a Paris airport just a short time ago aboard an Air France jet. Now, NTSB and Boeing teams are heading to France to join this investigation. CNN Simon Mosen is there. 2 serial numbers, I understand, you told us during the last live report, have been found on this debris. That could answer some questions before the analysis begins midweek, right?
Yeah, Victor, that's what we're looking to. We're hoping that maybe the answers will come sooner rather than later. Those 2 crucial serial numbers are presumably being checked through Boeing's records as we speak right now, while that piece makes its way down south to the south of France, where I am at the lab here in Toulouse. Now, those serial numbers could possibly lead us to identifying not only the fact that whether or not this piece really is a flaperon from the right wing of a 777 aircraft, but crucially the question that so many people want answered, is it from flight MH370? Now, of course, flight MH370 is the only missing plane that we know of, and definitely the only one in the Indian Ocean. But parts are often exchanged, and so experts aren't willing to just now say that, yes, it is definitely from MH370. And so we are holding out a lot of hope for these serial numbers, because as that part makes its way down, people are flying in from all over the world, from Malaysia, both Malaysian judges and Malaysian aviation authorities. Experts from France as well will come here, and we're not expecting them to meet in earnest and start analysing this piece until Wednesday. In fact, if I step aside and you take a look at this facility, it's run by the Ministry of Defence here in France. It's empty right now. It's shut for the weekend. They won't get here till Monday. Perhaps some scientists and experts who look into air crash investigations will start carrying out their experiments. And what do they hope to find from that, Victor? Well, they'll be taking a look at that piece and taking particular care to analyse where it's torn away from the aircraft, because the angles of the way it's torn, any kind of chemicals that are left on that will perhaps identify whether it came off in the air or did it come off on impact with the sea. And right at the top there, you mentioned those barnacles as well. Marine experts are looking at those to see just how long that's been in the sea. So there's a lot more information to come, not just the identification. And crucially, of course, there are 239 passengers, families and loved ones who really want to know not just where their loved ones are, but what happened to the plane they were on board. Victor?
Yes, and a spokesperson has made it clear they want to know when there is 100% certainty, nothing less. Simon Mosen, thank you so much.
Let's talk about another developing story that we're following. This dangerous close call between a drone and a commercial airliner. This is over the city of New York. The drone reportedly came within 100 feet of crashing into a Delta flight that was about to land. CNN's Nick Valencia is live with us with the latest. Nick, what have you learned this morning?
Good morning, Christy. A very close call in the nation's busiest airspace, and according to the FAA, this may happen a lot more often than we care to believe. The latest incident happening at JFK between a drone and a commercial airliner during its most critical phase of landing.
Delta 407.
Yeah, about a mile back, there was a drone flying just on the southwest side of this abandoned airport here.
What altitude would you say that was?
I would say probably about 100 feet below us, just off our right wing.
Delta Flight 407 prepares to land at JFK Airport with 154 people on board. The jet just 1,700 feet above the ground when the pilot spots a drone on the southwest side of the plane, just about 100 feet below.
Kevin, did you by any chance get the color or type?
No, it's not close enough to be able to tell.
Then JFK Tower warned other pilots of the possible danger flying around them.
JetBlue 958, use caution, previous arrival. The one that's ahead of you reported the drone at the Floyd Bennett Field over there, so you might see that. That's all right.
Yeah, we're in the RNC, so we're probably considerably higher than he was, so we're watching out for it.
Phil Durner of NYCAviation.com weighed in. Durner said without a doubt this was a close call. He explains a drone flying within 100 feet of a plane can easily get sucked into an engine, or worse.
These drones are made with aircraft aluminum, similar parts to the aircraft that it's about to strike. Going into an engine can destroy an engine. Going into the cockpit window can injure a pilot or even kill a pilot.
Scares like the one at JFK happen more often than you think. The FAA reports 25 drone incidents each month. In the case of Delta Flight 407, the plane landed safely, but now the FAA is investigating the incident. Very scary stuff there at JFK. A drone is, according to the FAA, not supposed to fly above 400 feet. They're also not supposed to get within 5 miles of a commercial airport. Investigators still looking for whoever operated this drone. They could face federal charges. Christy?
All right, Nick Valencia, we appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Let's bring in Mary Schiavo now. She's a CNN aviation analyst and former Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Transportation. Mary, good to have you back. And I want to start where Nick left off. These charges that could have been faced by this person.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And in fact, both the FAA and the Federal Bureau of Investigation are working together, and where they can find persons who have violated drone laws or endangered aircraft, they are going after them. And in some cases, jail time has been meted out. But it's tough to find them often, but where they can find them, they do prosecute, and vigorously.
There are new regulations relating to drones, but do you expect that there will be more now that this number of drone incidents is increasing?
Well, the regulations keep them away. And by the way, the existing regulations, even before we had drone regulations, would have kept them out of the airport operations area, the terminal areas of airport, where you have to be under air traffic control for the largest airports. But I do anticipate that there'll be additional requests for more regulation, including registering drone numbers, and sellers of drones will have to have the buyers, purchaser of the drones, in some ways much like federal firearms laws. So we know who's buying them, where they are. And so if something like this does happen, we'll know whose control the drones belong to.
Do you think that acquiring a drone is too easy now? Anecdotally, someone on our team told us you could buy them at a hardware store for $100 or so.
Oh, and they've been available like that for at least 8 or so years. I think I bought my first one maybe 10 years ago. They're cheap, they're available, they work well, but you have to follow the law and the rules when you do it. And there's a huge issue when you fly them over someone else's property, because technically the property owner has air rights. So, and the Supreme Court has never weighed in on exactly where the property owner's rights end and where the rights to fly over, other than navigable airspace, where that dividing line is. So that's an area of the law yet to be developed and defined.
Beyond the FAA rules, can these individual jurisdictions, the cities where these airports are, I mean, are we seeing a trend where they are creating or writing their own ordinances to protect their individual airports?
Well, they've tried to and they want to. Several cities have tried to do that, and the Federal Aviation Administration has stepped in and said, oh, no, wait a minute, only we can write air operations and drone laws and aircraft laws. Only we can do that, except the FAA hasn't defined, other than to say they have to be below 400 feet. The FAA can't really give drone operators the rights to go over people's property, because that falls under property law. And that really doesn't fall under the area that has been given to the Federal Aviation Administration to administer. So there's a huge gap in the law coverage right now that the FAA probably can't address. They don't have the jurisdiction.
All right. Mary Schiavo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have some new video of a previous traffic stop involving a university cop charged with murder. So this is a separate incident from where the murder charge is stemming. What does this tell us about this officer and his adherence or non-adherence to department protocol? We've got the video for you. We're going to talk to our experts and show all of it to you also. We have some new developments this morning in the search for the dentist who killed Cecil the Lion in Zimbabwe. Apparently, a representative for Walter Palmer has reached out to U.S. authorities. This as outrage continues to grow, not only across the U.S., but in Zimbabwe as well. We have the latest in just a moment. Stay close.
Leave early. Go roam. Sleep in. Sleep out. Stargaze. Dream big. Wander more.